Heather Caunt-Nulton. She is a henna artist based in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and she's well recognized internationally for her talent and experience in the art of henna. So I'd like to welcome Heather into the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. Heather, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us here on Go Local Live, and thank you. Look at my beautiful henna that she has performed on me. And this is drying, so we just got done just in the nick of time. And wanted to say too that we didn't want to do it on air because you really do need to focus while you're doing this. So because it is absolutely beautiful, just tell me a little bit about how you got into henna.
So I started doing henna when I was in college. I was an anthropology major studying wedding traditions, and when we were doing Indian wedding traditions, they kind of just briefly showed a flash of henna, and I just fell in love with the style of the artwork of it, so I got Sharpies and was doodling on myself, which is not advisable, but then I had posted photos online on my homepage, because that's what you did back in the day, and a friend said, "Oh, that looks like henna." I was like, "Good, now I know the word." Went to the library, looked up everything I could, and that's really how I got into it. Trial and error, finding not so good henna at first and getting better henna over time. Things that are easier to draw with.
Wow, and you've been doing this for quite some time. How long has your background been? Since 1999?
18 years then, right?
18 years. Wow. So you've been doing this and really mastering the technique. Show us what you have on your arm. And I'm just flabbergasted that you can do this to yourself, because I can't even paint my own nails. You were mentioning it's kind of like painting your nails. I'm like, well, I'd be terrible. Show us what you have.
So I have some pretty bold henna compared to yours. Actually, yours is a little bold as well. But so I've got some flowers, some connecting bits. It's a fusion of Arabic henna, which is more these flowers and swirly bits, and Indian henna, which is these more intricate parts. But it's also, so Indo-Arabic would be one of the names of the style, but it's also just becoming more popular worldwide as well.
Oh,
to
wow.
fuse all those things. Actually, this one is sort of that same kind of style. I do that a lot, fuse Indian and Arabic styles together and do it in a bold graphic kind of way.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. And really quite fascinating to learn about it. And so that's why I was really excited to talk to you about it today, because some people just aren't familiar about it. Some people, you see it at festivals, which are popping up all around since it is the summertime. Wouldn't know the way it looks and feels outside today, but you're brightening our spirits. Talk to me just a little bit about some of the history behind henna and why you find it so interesting, and how you've become kind of the go-to person when it comes to this, because you have been deeply entrenched in the world of henna by not only participating in different festivals, but really sharing your knowledge and expertise worldwide.
Should I do the first half?
I know, there's a lot of questions in one.
Yeah. Wait, what was the first half? I already lost it. So basically, the history of henna is that it's done for weddings and celebrations, especially because it's quite a process to prepare the henna paste. It actually takes about a day, and that's once you have it already harvested and powdered. So even longer than that, really. So you mix up the henna plant leaves with some lemon juice and essential oils, and that makes the paste. So it takes a while. It takes about 24 hours, give or take. So it's done for large groups of people. Wow. So typically celebrations. So bridal henna is the fanciest henna in all the places where it's done. India and throughout North Africa, throughout the Middle East. There's this whole little strip of land, if you look across a map, that just covers all those places. That's the right climate. So that's where it grows. And that's where it's traditionally done. But due to being able to export and import things, here we go, we have it here. And as far as me getting into it, and just, I've traveled to Australia and Mexico. Australia to teach at a henna conference, Mexico to do henna for a wedding. There are henna conferences in California called the Spring Fling. There are ones in there's going to be one in Bali, there's one in Australia, we said, all over, just everywhere. So henna artists like to trade information and teach each other different things as well, so that's really great. It's a supportive community where everyone really wants to teach each other, and it's awesome that way.
I think it's so fascinating how you're able to be such an artist and work with canvas, right? With individual canvases and create something so beautiful. How do you really get to a point where you're good at this? 18
practice.
years.
You just practice. What you really need is like a good product to work with that is sifted really well. The henna powder being sifted well is important. And then mixing the paste, you eventually get the hang of that, and then it's just a matter of practice, practice, practice. The little elements that you've got in your design, as well as mine, they have some similarities, right? So you got to practice getting that point to look like it's in the middle of the hand, even if it's technically kind of not. You kind of fudge it and make it look as if it is. You practice these little humps, you practice how to do that petal shape. It's a lot of practice and a lot of looking at traditional images and working from those. So like there are different styles. This is a Mauritanian style of henna. So you just get all those different things in your head, and then you can pull them out and create all these different pieces on different human canvases.
I mean, it's gorgeous. I mean, is it neat that something like this is able to spread worldwide, to be able to share different cultures with people? I mean, is that cool?
I certainly think so. So yeah, I think it's great. It is a medium for expression, but it has this root in the plant and where the plant grows. But as more people have access to it, more people can share it. And I think it's important that people learn the historical and traditional uses while also experimenting with using it however it suits them and what they want to do with it.
So we mentioned, or you mentioned, kind of some uses. It really started out in some cultures in tradition for weddings and celebrations. What are some other uses?
So other than for weddings and celebrations, sometimes people will just have fancy henna done for no reason, but it really mostly is about celebration very often. So weddings and Eid, it's very popular, Eid and Diwali, like big holidays. Although there are, for me, it's still connected to that stuff pretty strongly, but like in Dubai, for example, and also Morocco, and also Sudan, it's just like getting your nails done, like we were saying. Like it's just something that when it starts to fade, or like your nail polish like cracks, you're like, I need more henna. My henna doesn't look good right now. And you go to a salon and someone will do it, or you go to someone's house and they'll do it for you. So it really depends on the culture where you are.
Okay. So when we're looking at, let's go into a little bit about your background as well, because it is sort of an art form for you. You have had artworks, you've had some of your art published and showcased in the Rhode Island School of Design Museum, as well as at museums in Connecticut and Massachusetts as well. So that's pretty neat. What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was really nice. I often I'll put a few pieces in the museum that are like photos that we did as a particular photo shoot for that sort of thing and for the website, but then also do henna live for people at the opening.
Really cool.
So it's like a really fun opening for a gallery show. And sorry, what else were we?
Oh, just that experience, what that's like for you, because
yeah.
I mean, you're performing henna, and it's art that eventually does go away. I mean, it lasts, but then you also have photographs that are hanging in museums. I mean, that has to be a pretty cool experience. But I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
No, yeah. So I mean, it's really nice to have art in museums. I love the interactive, in-person part the best, but I can't be everywhere. So the museums are good for that. So like I had a tambourine that I decorated go off to a museum in England. Wow. So I get to be actually part of an exhibit that had work from a lot of different henna artists, all in that one place. That was hosted by this artist, Rifat Bahar. Rifat, I sometimes say it wrong, sorry Rifat. I still haven't met her. So, and then I will be at gallery night in a month to be announced on the website soon.
Okay.
At Sprout, that's where I'll be for that gallery night, and we'll have one of those photos. We'll be doing Henna Live. So I do enjoy and appreciate when I'm given that opportunity to show in galleries.
And it's amazing to be able to see just the different artwork that you have. Let's talk a little bit about henna, what the actual plant itself. And if people are going out there, they're interested, they say, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. People are going to festivals and they're like, I want that. Or, I mean, you can even buy kits in like craft stores. Yeah. So, and you mentioned to me, what you see is not always what you get. So talk to me just a little bit about the plant substance and what people really need to look for if they're going to either get henna done or if they're looking to maybe DIY.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very important question. So the real henna is always just made from the leaves of the henna plant. That is what the dye is coming from, is the leaves of the henna plant. That's really all you need as a base to get your henna design. So this here, we've got natural henna powder, and this is what you should always be starting with. It's just the leaves of the henna plant ground up into a really fine powder. It's always kind of greenish.
It's a beautiful color.
Sometimes it's a little more brown than this, and you shouldn't be concerned that it's not henna just because it's a little more brown than that.
Okay.
Sometimes people think that greener means fresher. Maybe not. Sometimes people add green dye to it.
Oh, really?
To make it look fresher, so you kind of want to avoid ones that do that, because whoever's doing that is just shady, and that's weird. But
will it say on the patent? No, not necessarily.
All henna will just say, all natural henna, and
really?
It might or might not be. So what to look for is like the smell. Like it smells like...
It smells like tea, green tea.
Green tea. Or like frozen spinach, some people also say.
Yeah.
A little grassy. It should smell like that. And if you put a little bit of water on it and you put paper to touch it, you shouldn't see little bits of green dye like splashing out on the paper. Okay. But anyway, the main imposter hennas that you will find are cones that are with chemical dyes in them. Yeah, and so that ranges from anything to chemical dyes that maybe are safe for the skin but won't last the way that henna does, because real henna will last a long time because the dye molecule is super small. And that's why it can penetrate the top few layers of your skin, and that's why it lasts so long, because it's actually in there a few layers. Whereas these other chemical dyes, they will just be on the surface and not go as deep. But also, you never know what's actually in those chemical dyes. Like some of them might be okay, many of them are not okay. But the number one, and then another way to know that you have one of those is the paste that you draw with. I don't know, we'll just like show a little bit here. Should be, well, I guess you have it there, but it's kind of dried a little bit. It's opaque and it's a little bit shiny.
Yeah, shiny.
But it's not super shiny. If it's translucent and super shiny, it's probably the chemical fake stuff.
Ooh.
So that's something to look for if you've grabbed the tube. Also, if the tube is at room temperature and on a shelf instead of in a, it's either never was real henna or was real henna but is now dead because it's only good at room temperature for 2 days. But the main thing, I think you also, we wanted to make sure we mentioned to not ever touch, ever, is what people call black henna. Black henna, which I have to use air quotes because it's not even henna, is PPD, which is short for paraphenylenediamine, which is a strong black chemical dye. You should, viewers at home, go Google PPD black henna. You will not like the images. I think that you've been scarred by seeing the images.
It's awful. Awful. So tell me what will happen. I mean, is it dangerous if you use something like this? Say you're out at a festival and something like that happens. You're not getting natural henna.
Yeah. So real
henna.
Right. You should like ask the artist, so what's in your henna? And they should be able to just quickly spit out like, oh, leaves of the henna plant, lemon juice, some essential oils, whatever is in their mix. They should just quickly know. They shouldn't be like, oh, it's all natural, and like wait and see what else you ask and try to stumble.
It's important because it's going on your skin.
It is, yeah. And yeah, if you did get it done at a festival and you realized after the fact that it was, just wash it off as soon as you can. I mean, once you realize that happened, but so therefore ask in advance so you didn't waste your money and get something that was bad. Yeah.
Because it could potentially be dangerous, right?
Right, so black henna will give like a scar. It can't, not all the time, like on 1% of people or some very small percentage, which is still too many people. If I henna 300 people in a day and 3 of them now are permanently scarred, this is a problem.
Yeah, that's not good.
So yeah, it also is injuring your internal organs. Like you can't see it, but if you have that kind of reaction, you're having that kind of reaction. So you got to be super careful. Yeah. So the black henna, very bad.
Avoid
it.
Avoid it and ask your artist what's in their henna.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like that. This has been such a joy to talk to you.
And
where can people find more information about you, about your art, and where you will be at?
So about me and my art and where I'll be, you can find it hennabyheather.com.
And we'll have links on our website
here.
as well, yeah.
And then if you want to buy henna supplies, I have a second website, which is artisticadornment.com. And there we sell natural henna powder and some safe other things like glitter to add to it and things like that. But mostly, primarily, all natural henna.
What I think is cool about you, too, is that you've helped other henna artists, and you mentioned this, too, you kind of all share and kind of help grow the community. What I think about is cool about you is that you have these YouTube videos. You have like 90,000 views on your YouTube videos.
There are a lot of views on the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So there's a whole playlist where you can learn how to do henna, and then there's all these other videos. You can just watch me doing henna as well. There's like a little overview of one of the conferences we did. But that's, yeah, Henna by Heather on YouTube. Henna by Heather on all the social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, everything.
It's cool. So you can go check out more of her work if you didn't see it here. Pretty neat. And you'll be around here at Waterfire next week, right?
Thank you. Yes, I am. I'll be at Waterfire next week here in Providence. And there's also a schedule of everywhere I'm going to be on that same website, hennabyheather.com.
Busy season for you.
Busy season.
Busy season.
We are somewhere, me and my team, I have other artists I work with, are somewhere in New England every single weekend and often 3 or 4 different places. So
not bad. It's fun to spread the love of henna.
Yeah,
I like it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today and for gearing me up with some henna that I've only smudged a little bit so far. I'm very impressed with myself. All right.